Moving to the next, we have Mr. Moonish Sood, a distinguished leader with over 25 years of experience in the outsourcing industry, encompassing pre sales, transitions, operations, account management, and strategy. Currently working as a Chief Operating Officer at Genpact. Mr. Sood focuses on delivering exceptional client based value by managing operations and spearheading transformation initiatives that leverage data, technology, and AI. Well, he is also an accomplished author. With this note, I welcome Mr. Moonish Sood to welcome with a huge round of applause. Oh my God.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's actually morning, so the lights are blinding. I'll just step aside. So first of all, let me start by asking you a question. How many of you want to be successful in life? Can I see a raise of hands? I'm actually not surprised. I've asked this question many times. You can put your hands down. Thank you for doing that. I've asked this question many times to many individuals across the world, and everybody puts their hand up. But I can tell you that everybody wants to be successful, but it's equally important that you put in the hard work to be successful. And we're going to understand the concept of hard work in context of time. So let's fast forward your lives a little bit, and this is for the students here of the 10th and the 12th standard. So let's say you're going to start working at the age of 21. In India, the retirement age is 60. So you're going to work for how many years? 39 years. Just do the maths in your head, okay? So 39 years of your life, you're going to be working in the offices. 39 years is how many days? It's roughly about 14,300 days. Now keep that 14,300 parked in your head somewhere. And let's talk about a day. A day has 24 hours, right? Now, just like you spend 8 hours in a school, I'm assuming you're getting about 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day. And then there is homework. You have to spend time with families. You have to go back and forth. You have to come to the school and go back homes as well. Similarly, in the office environment, you will be spending 8 hours at work or 9 hours at work, right? So going back to the day, you just have 4 hours of a day left in the 24 hours. And that is 1/6 of a day left. Now take that 14,300 hours to keep in your heads and divide it by 6. How much of time is left? It's just 2,300 days left. That's all you have to do something with your lives. So keep that 2,300 days, right in center of your minds. And remember, people who will manage their time and people who will use their days wisely and who will harness the wave of time will make great sailors. And those are the people who will really be successful in life. So the topic of my presentation is from small to today. And the reason I say small is because I started in a small town or a village in Himachal Pradesh. The picture that you see on the screen is of my parents who were simple school teachers, right? So my journey starts from a very small place in Himachal to where I am today. And today I run a team of about 40,000 people globally, and I have teams across Australia, India, Philippines, China, Europe, UK, and the Americas. Right? So I'm going to share with you how I built my journey, how I built my career, and what my journey's been and what you could learn from me. So look, my life has been a lot about change. Yeah, that does give away my year of birth, but that's okay. Born in 1975, so spent a large part of I grew up in Shimla. And for me, the first big change was in 1993 when I moved from Shimla to Mumbai. And I can tell you it was a lot of change because you grow up in a small town and then you suddenly end up in a big city like Mumbai. I've had to build a lot of confidence. I've had to build a lot of courage. I've had to change how I speak, right? But those have been all conscious changes. So that was the first big change for me. And then there have been multiple changes through my career where I have spent time in hotels. I've worked in the airlines business. I've spent time in the insurance business, now in the banking business, right? So it's been a lot of change, and I can tell you I've really enjoyed the change, right? So don't be afraid of doing things that are new. right? Don't get stuck to just saying, I'm good at mathematics, so I'm just going to excel in mathematics. And that's good. You should really take that mathematics thing really forward. But also make sure that you are also very open to change and you're trying new things. And then as thought, I'm done with change. Here we are today, and everybody, all the past speakers have spoken about AI. AI is all around us, and you will some of the logos that you see on the screen, you'll be very familiar with them, right? So the key points on this I want to make is AI is going to add $16 trillion to the world economy by 2030. The world economy is roughly about 100 to 102 trillion dollars today, growing at about 2.5%. So just think about the increase to the global economy that AI is going to contribute to, right? So one, AI is all around us. It is going to change. It is driving a lot of change. It's adding $16 trillion to the economy that I just mentioned that. Now, 55% of the jobs that will happen in the future, or the jobs of the future, they don't even exist today, right? So just making sure that you are embracing AI, learning AI, and trying AI, right, is going to be very consequential for your successes. So think about Amazon. Now, because people don't have to go to the markets and the bazaars and the grocery stores, they're saving time. Now you don't have to spend a lot of time writing, or if you Google, copy paste a lot of stuff. You can just go to Chat GPT. I'm sure a lot of you are using that, right? And that's helping you summarize documents. So that's saving time. So the concept of time that I brought in earlier in the beginning of 14,300 days, and 1/6 of that, that is 2,300 days. AI can actually reduce time by 30%, or add time of 30% back to your lives. So 30% on 2,300 is another 700 days, right? So you have more time than what I have had. Because when I grew up in Shimla, there were no computers. There was no text messaging. You could only communicate with people through writing letters. And we used to call them pen friends at the point of time, right? So you have a massive opportunity with AI. And another interesting fact, because now people are not going to the markets, like I said earlier, it's actually adding 10 years back to their lives. Amazon is adding 10 years back to human lives. My son's birthday was in August, and I heard about Suno. And just using Suno, and if you haven't tried it, I encourage you to go to suno.com. That it allowed me to make a song for my son in 5 minutes for his birthday. All I had to put in was some characters there, or some features, or some specific things about his name is Rian, where he was born, which class he's in, what his interests, etc. And there was a fantastic song that came through, right? So what I learned that day is that AI is not hard. Not experimenting with it and not trying AI is going to be hard. It's almost like you want to read a textbook how to drive a car. The best way to learn how to drive a car is to actually get in the front seat and get lessons and actually drive it, right? So that's the message I'm making. And I was in San Francisco just a couple of weeks back, and you see the logo on the bottom right of the page, Waymo. Waymo is actually driverless cars in San Francisco, right? It's completely driverless, right? So all of this is being enabled through AI. So I won't spend much time. I think a lot of time has been spent. But remember, adoption of AI is going to have a direct correlation to your success in the future. Now, I want to give you 5 tips of my 5 learnings. The first tip I want to give you is about how do you take charge of your lives and take action. So the person that you see in the green t-shirt is actually me. This is in Mumbai in 2002. I was actually waiting on a bus stop, waiting for a bus. And it was almost an hour at the bus stop. And as I was waiting, I was thinking, one day I won't have to wait for the bus, because I'll do something with my life. I'll have enough money to buy a car, and I won't have to wait at the bus stop. And then I looked on my left. There was this old man standing there. And I was just thinking, what if this old man was the same me 25 years back or 30 years back? And he had the same dreams, but he's still at the bus stop. And that was the day I realized that I didn't want to be the man 30 years later, still at the bus stop. And that's the day where I decided to quit my job and go for further studies, right? So I think that was a inner voice, there was an inner realization, and all of you have inner realizations. There's an inner voice talking to you. So make sure that you are listening to it, not just today, but as you grow up and as you go in the future, right? And listen to it and take action. So that's the first tip. Take action. Listen to your inner voice, take action. Now, the previous chart was 2002. Now this is 2008. After my MBA in 2004, I joined a company. I was doing fairly well, and this is in Chicago. I'm sitting at a dinner table, and we're sitting with about 5 to 6 clients, and I realized that very soon I ran out of all conversations. There was nothing to talk to the customers after 10 minutes. We spoke about work, we spoke about how well we were doing, we spoke a little bit about India, we spoke a little bit about US, but all the conversations died. And then there was another individual from my team, actually my manager, who walked in. And I can tell you, he had thousands of stories to tell. He could talk about wine, he could talk about global warming, he could talk about AI. He had many things to talk about that time. And that's the day I realized, and that's my second tip, that you have to stay constantly curious. And when the TEDx video came up early on the stage, there was curiosity there. Somebody spoke about passion. Skepticism, that was another word I saw. And it's good to be skeptic, and you have to refine some of the things for your own self and sort it out in your heads. But coming back to this, that's the day I realized it's so important to not just be great at what you do, but also be extremely aware about what's happening in the world, what's happening in the industry, right? So stay curious. So I'm 49 years of age today. I am where I am, but I still have to learn. I'm still very curious. And just about 3 weeks back, not 3 weeks back, a couple of months back, I was in a session with some very senior people. And some of them were in the late 50s, some of them in the early 60s. And the word curiosity came out as a big thing in everybody's head at that age as well, right? So change is never going to go away. It's never going to go away. You'll be always in the middle of it. And what will help you manage change is curiosity. Curiosity is going to be an extremely important component, right? So today, I would end up spending a lot of time not just working, but also making sure I'm listening to some podcasts. I'm listening to podcasts on AI. I'm listening to podcasts on what's happening on, let's say, automation in the industry. For example, in the auto industry, I would learn about what's happening. For example, I was listening to a podcast in Sri Lanka yesterday. So just stay curious is the point I'm making. Because when you are curious, you will have many things to talk about in the future. My third tip is what I've liberally used, and I've come to believe that this is what has been very instrumental for me to drive my success, is GPS. All of you are familiar with Google Maps, GPS, right? Just like how you use Google Maps to go from point A to point B. Like I had to get to the Lotus Petal School today, so I put Lotus Petal School in Google Maps. It gave me directions. Just like that, you will need GPS or you need Google Maps for your life, right? And the way I have thought about that is that genuineness is going to be an extremely important component for your success. Genuineness in your interactions, in your personal lives, in your professional lives, being authentic, right? Saying things the way you see them. And of course, being conscious about how you are placing them. And one of the speakers earlier spoke about passion, right? So when you're genuinely committed to something, when you genuinely want to do something, you will automatically fuel passion within you, right? You will discover new ways. You'll find different ways of getting to the end outcome because you are committed to the outcome, right? So that's the second. And the third is simplicity. Keep things very, very simple. My fourth tip is about balance. And somebody said, I don't know if it's Charlie Chaplin, but somebody said the busiest people have the maximum time, right? So as students right now, or for the people in the room as well, um, you are consumed a lot by offices or schools, right? But make sure that you're taking time to do things that are important for you, that give you happiness, that strike your soul, right? So just make sure that you make time for those. And you know, in my introduction, I think the MCs said that I'm an author, I'm a published author. I love to write. I love to get to the mountains. I love to do more of it, right? So make sure that you have balance in life and you are happy in life. And my last tip is this one. The fifth one is, just like, the schools organize for this entire, day for you today for learning, right? And you're receiving a lot from your mentors, from your parents, from your teachers, right? And as you grow up in life, you have the same obligation to give it back to the next generation. Just like how somebody is shining the torch for you, just make sure that you are also hand holding somebody and shining the torch for them, right? So that's an obligation you should carry as you grow up and pass it on to the future generations. And the reason I put this number 3084 there is because in the beginning we came up with this 2300 days, and we said that AI is almost getting you efficient or adding 30% of more time in your lives. So if you add that 2300 plus 700, that gives you about 3084 days, actually, not hours. 3084 more days to do something with their lives, right? So the clock's ticking, and you got to take charge, and you got to realize that and that's the trouble of being young. There's a lot of good part about being young, but the trouble about being young also is that you think you have a lot of time, but time's going to go away very quickly. I was just like you many years back, and I don't know how the time has flown by, right? So please recognize that you only have 3,000 days to do something with your lives, right? And I hope you're going to use these 3,084 days very, very wisely. And with that, I'd like to thank TEDx, and I'd like to thank Lotus Petal School for this opportunity to come and speak to this wonderful audience today. And I wish you all the best in your life, and stay happy, guys. Thank you.